where he's got us and the things that are going on that kind of need to be talked about so we can learn how to move today. But do you think Trump would die for you? If you believe that that's your man for America, do you believe he would die for you? Because I believe just like a king, a real king is going to die for his kingdom, and he's not going to. And it's not even going just biblical, which I'm thankful for my king that has did so. But like I said, that's my belief. But just a belief in just reality, even a man with his home, a real man's gonna die for that which is in his home to protect his home, that which is around his home. He's willing to sacrifice his life for it. So it's the reason why even coming here is the investment part, right? Because you want to grow, you want to be the best, and this also goes for us as individuals, But I'm just speaking of when you're taking that stance as, and this could be for women too. I'm not just saying it's just men, but when you take that stance of governing and protecting and all these different things, that comes with your life, I feel. And I think when we look at that, you have to ask that question. If he's your guy, he's your man, and he's going to do all these things for you, but when it comes down to it, do you think he's going to be in a bunker? Do you think he's going to be, when things get real, where is he going to be? If he's right there next to you, and it's just you and him, and some guys come out to attack you, do you think he's going to expect you to die for him, or for him to die for you? Or is he going to just use you as a shield? I'm just keeping it real. So, because I think that when that perspective comes into mind, you kind of can look at who you're actually dealing with and getting. Because I don't believe that some of these decisions um, that he makes are just all world view. I think there's some a lot of just has to do with his view. I believe not that is he put there for a reason. Is he executing agendas? He's also doing his own thing because that's what he does. He believes in himself. He believes in his own ignorance, and that's a scary thing. So I want to leave that as just a little hangnail. He believes in his own ignorance because I want to put that there because this is not even just about Trump. Where are we at? Are we at a place where we believe our own ignorance moving forward? All right, so I have another topic. Second topic in the furnace. Second topic in the furnace because it's already burning. I feel the heat. My feet sweating. It's going. It's going. So this topic here I ran across and I just thought it was a good topic to talk about. I know, like I said, we're going to talk about things that are sensitive. They're not all going to be. These are not topics that I feel. I'm not trying to keep it a one-sided topic. You know what I mean. Democrat, Republic, or anything like. You know what I'm saying. I think sometimes we can come at things just from one-sided. I just think these topics really just kind of genuinely go into our health, right? As people need to be talked about. So this topic is there's a tennis player. Some of you might know her, Naomi Osaka. Um, so apparently, from my understanding, Naomi hosted an all-black dinner for black tennis players and they made a topic about it. So I saw it, and since it was a topic, it's just funny. So I'm like, okay, well, it's a topic, so let's talk about it. Because obviously, I guess there's feelings about it. So with that, don't forget to leave a comment. Don't forget to leave your thoughts. Do you feel she was wrong or right for doing that? You know, um, was she wrong or right? and why. Why do you feel the way you feel? And for me, I can see the different point of views on it. Um, I know a lot of people feel like we moved past that and we're past that, but we're really not. We just been kind of masked. Like I said, when Trump came in, and uh, then the no offense to anyone, but the gay rights or movement moved in the parades, and that just somehow overshadowed completely what was going on in the black community, and then that led us to just a whole nother path, and then COVID, and it's just like everything just went like as if it doesn't exist, and I just think that's how people, like I said, blindfolded. We just blindfold ourselves to make things easier, but I think in reality that we haven't really passed those things at all. Um, but I think thinking that we're past those things, you could feel like that's wrong. Like, why are we still doing things like that? Um, because it just resurfaces things or bring things back up that it it's not moving past. It's the same difference than you know white people doing it or Caucasian people. I want to offend anyone, but Caucasian. I never still never understand that word. Um, what's the difference? So it just I don't know. I just think that to be real about it, that I personally don't feel that there was anything wrong with it, and this is my perspective and how I feel. I don't feel that there's anything that was wrong with that because there's still racism. There's still a lot of stuff that's going on in this world. And as a person of color, like, you know that, you see that, you feel that, you still live in that every day. And then you still have to live in the fake facade of it too. And then that's the worst. I think that's worse. And then you also have the blatancy coming out, uh, because I don't know. Sometimes I mean, I guess Trump. People get amped up, and so now you see people getting braver as well. Certain people with their hatred. And and then you still know there's divisions. And if you work, or any of us, like I said, as a person of color, in your environments that how you're treated, and you know that your opportunities are more limited than someone else. Do I believe, yes, today there are more options just than our ancestors, or um, then as time went, is it how we move forward in a lot of ways? Yeah, I definitely believe we move forward, but the reality is that we're still there, very much so, and I just think that we're in a different scope of it. Man, it's funny because hatred can find new ways to hate. I'm gonna just hang that out there, but I don't feel it's wrong because I think we're still there, and I think creating, just like right now, right, for people that believe in change, this is the point of the furnace, growing together, becoming better, um, creating that space, no different than church or mosque or anything. It's supposed to be a space where people are on the same path, going the same direction, that they can bond, and they have a lot of familiarities, and trying to get to go the same direction, and can find that support to do so. And I think that's just a way of doing that. You know, creating that space, that opportunity for people of color to be themselves, to rub shoulders, to connect, to support, with those that understand what they're going through and what they've been through, and that share that. And I think that's okay. To me, that is just fine. I don't think that someone doing that is saying that, hey, we hate other races or anything like that. But I think this is just a little bit different because we sometimes try to put um, what people of color have went through in a different like place, like it's in the same category as all these other things, and it's not. and it's not, and we keep doing that just to downplay what has actually happened. And to me, that always hurts the pit of my stomach that we do that um, in America, and because there's a reality there. So what she did was perfectly fine, and I don't know. Leave your thoughts on how you feel, but I think creating that space, hopefully creating opportunities, because I think when you are like I said, like what this furnace is about, when you have more people to hold on to, more people to fight with you, more people to go forward with you, um, and also creating a space for people to feel places, a safe place for people to grow and be, is an amazing thing. And having the opportunity to do it is amazing. It's a complete blessing. Um, I'm gonna move forward to the next question. To this, does one's objectification give them the right for secludedness and segregation? Does one's objectification give them the right for secludedness or segregation? Well, I'm just put it like this. If I have been objectified, if I have been pushed away, if I have been down and out, and that, if these people, I'm just trying to put it in a perspective, have treated me a certain way, and I'm with a group of people that's been treated a certain way, I, of course, I'm going to go do things and provide things for the group that's with me, right? Because that's how the layout is. I don't know if that makes sense. Since the layout's that way, it puts me in this place to do this, right? Because I want to be able to support the people that are here with me, in this with me, and trying to make it out of this with me. So I don't think that having, I guess it's kind of attached to the first question, that there's anything wrong with that. And it makes total sense if you actually think about it logically. And if you've been in school, and if you were bullied or any of these things, or you weren't allowed to be a part of these popular groups or these groups, you usually end up in the groups that receive you and identify with you. And you're going to provide groups and maybe even make your own band, right? You're going to make your own garage band. But you're going to make something, right, to where a safe place where you can be yourselves and grow, and with the people that understand that challenge. And so that's just more of natural, I think, more than people think that it's blatant. So I'm hoping I'm touching these the right way, and I'm hoping I'm addressing them the right way. But like I said, leave your thoughts. Leave your thoughts. Um, Next one is it racist to do so, or in one's right to connect with others who understand them? And I basically just touched on this. I don't think it's racist to do so, um, and I think it makes total sense to connect and do so. Um, I think is the only difference I think that really makes it is when there's an assumption made that there's that secludedness, or is out of hatred or something like that, instead of the reality of it. So I would like to put it in scope and in the reality of it, because I think even when we look at things in the world, or when black folks do this or that, or brown folks or someone that get together and do something like that, sometimes it just feels like a secludedness. Really, but it's not. It's just, like I said, it's basically the layout that we have created that allow that. Just like I said, I gave you this perspective of school, and that had nothing to do with race or color. That's just the layout, and it's how it plays out. Um, so I definitely understand it and don't see anything wrong with that. Is it wrong, or this next question? Sorry, we're gonna move forward. Is it wrong, or has the government's or news or the narrative to to stir the pot? So when these things come into play, uh, and there, like I said, I was just reading, I saw it, and it was like it was a thing, right? Like regardless, they decided to make it a thing, that it was a thing. It wasn't that she hosted a party. It was that she hosted an all black party for all black tennis players, and when I read what I read, it didn't really have it in a praise form. So I believe that's why, like I said, that's why these topics are here, because we need to start realizing that we're being moved in a direction. And it's been happening for years, happening for centuries, in perspectives that aren't right, aren't logically right to live and go forward as humanity. Um, so you see, the pot is always being stirred to keep us separate. So that's why I'm gonna throw that pot that they using to stir. I want to throw all those things in the furnace. Y'all feel me? Like that's the point of what I'm doing and what we're doing by coming into this space. And we're throwing this stuff into the furnace so we can start breaking down these barriers and these walls that they're doing. They are stirring the pot. They stir the pot to keep us all, and they're doing it through social media. They're doing it through all kinds of different outlets and ways. They study us, our psychological, like 'cause that's what it is, and it's a psychological warfare. That's what we're in, and they're doing these things, and they have psychologically damaged us in so many different ways to push us and drive us into different thoughts or perspectives and separation. And then we're raised in that, right? So it just creates a cycle. Just creates a cycle. And we're trying to break that cycle. We talk about generational curses. We talk about all these different things. Uh, that's where we're at. So yeah, I believe that we got to be very careful, because they put these narratives you're reading, and now it gives you a perspective on it, makes you see it a different way, right? Maybe because if you're a person of color, you know, maybe you praise it, right? And then if you're someone else, you're like, that's just keeping it there. So, we find ourselves separate, and then I think really we say, oh, that's cool. Because there was nothing wrong done with it. So why feel any type of way? We got to keep moving forward and just count our blessings. And sometimes be happy for other people. They couldn't do, they can do. Just keep it real. Now this next one, I got to talk about. My wife, man, she couldn't even finish it. She heard a little bit of it because I watched it. I love watching those things sometimes. And sometimes I go through my different phases. I go through phases where I just watch history. I go through phases where I just dig into my uh, you know what I'm trying to say, archaeological finds and uh, biblical archaeologically. Man, I definitely ain't saying that right, but it sounds good. Um, but I just go through all these phases, and then sometimes I just go through a phase where I just be watching stuff, or I start catching them on comedies and stuff, and she heard it, and she just couldn't sit through it, and I understand, and but I've seen a lot of these comedies, and I'm just gonna say it, roast. Y'all know where I'm going, right? And I know it's a hot topic right now. And I know everything seems to be in this direction, but believe me, this is really, if we could sit on it the right way, it's really just conversations and things that need to be talked about. But yes, the Kevin Hart roast. The Kevin Hart roast. I don't know if you watched it, if you or not, but I know you probably heard some things about it. I know he's been addressed about it, and it's been a little bit of a topic. And I've seen roasts before. I know how dirty they get. A roast is a roast. It's a no holds bar type of thing. Uh, so I already know how to the gist of it. Um, but my first question to that is, if you saw it, if not, I mean, if you want to go, you get a chance. It's the Kevin Hart roast. Um, was it out of line, or was it just a typical roast? I'm gonna let that sit for a second. Was it out of line or a typical roast? Y'all ready? Cause you know I'm begging to grab it. Uh, Man, it was out of line. It was out of line, and I'm gonna just say why I was out of line. Because I get a roasters and no hose bar. They touch on everything. They'll get on marital affairs. They'll get on children. You know, it's really like I said, it's no hose bar. But there was a lot of racist jokes, and it really just seemed too set up that I mean those racist jokes did not stop. And there was a lot of other jokes and they would get on each other, but they're pretty crafty in how they did it, but it was still so overwhelmingly disgustingly racist and things that they were saying. um, they even had one of the jokes or something was about George Floyd. There was even something mentioned about a lynching. I mean, just even me saying those things right there, right? That's already. I don't care if that was in this part or that part. If it was allowed, it's already too far. And that's what I mean about us either being blindfolded or, in this case, being way too submissive to the powers, allowing them to tell us that this is okay and this is all right. And that's the reality of the world I think we're in today, where wrong is right and right is wrong. So if you say, hey, this is, they want you to feel wrong for being right. I've seen people blackballed. I've seen, uh, people cornered and, all this different stuff, right? If you're fighting for the right thing or you're saying something that's right, you're made to feel bad for it. And we praise the wrong and they're uplifting wrong, and to the point to where sometimes we can't even tell what's right or wrong, and that's how they want us to feel. Oh, this was just a typical roast. How can you, this is what roast is all about? Even he was saying that. Even he was saying that it was a typical roast. And I'm like, man, like, hold up. Hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up. This is so touchy. So many black lives have been affected. There's been so much bloodshed. There's been so much behind it. Um, how can you even allow that? And how can they allow that, saying that we're America? You see what I'm saying? Do y'all see what I'm saying? And this is not to my black folks, but this is for everybody. It's for everybody. How can we allow that? Yes, I know they're gonna say little jokes here and there, but it could have stopped at watermelon, I guess. I mean, I've seen them do it before with the Jews and this and that, but I just think it's just different. Like they want us to make it okay, and yeah, you know what? It's even thing too. It's like they joke on each other, but they're good, and they want us to be okay with putting each other down when we're already down. It's a no. This is part of the process. I thought it was terrible, and that Netflix should have some repercussions for that. But once again, no offense, Trump. Not saying he's running the course. I'm just saying dictates a lot of the state. If I was a father coming to see my child for the first time, you're meeting me, and I come in there drunk with my clothes all tore up, smelling, you're gonna instantly have a thought of my home. And I'm just saying he represents America, okay? But it was terrible. Um, Next question is: should Kevin Hart have had more dignity and left and shut it down? Like I said, leave your thoughts. and leave your comments, and so that we can get to it. I know it's very touchy, but I would just love to um, hear your thoughts, especially on this one. I think it's just one that, I mean, all of them. Please, just I want to hear, but this is one that I think we need to be real with. Should he have left with dignity and shut it down? At what point do we allow money? At what point do we allow all these things? And I don't know what contracts these people sign. I don't know what they do. I know the game is deep. Illuminati. I know the game is deep. And there's another name for it, whatever. They can call it Project 2. I don't care. It's something else there. But at what point do you lose dignity and you lose respect for your people? And I know it's always like, oh, but I help out my people. I do this and I do that and I da da da. Man, I'm get off the gas. You can't fool me. I don't care what you do or how you do it. I respect it. That's like I tell people, a bad person, even a bad person can do good, and they do. There's bad people that do good all the time. Sit with that. So just because you see people, and a lot of y'all praising these people, and y'all giving them all these views and giving them all these things and giving them all this time, your time and all that, because you've seen them doing these certain things, and even come to defend them in moments of wrong. You know, we got to be very careful at what we see and how we look at it. Because this was terrible. It shouldn't have been done. And Kevin Hart, being a black man, should have stood up and should have left. Um, that's just the bottom line. Should have shut it down. I don't care about the contract. Care about what money it would have lost. Um, they should have took a stand. And if not, played the game. I can't even now. Because there's really no way. Even if you waited through it and then put it on blast after, nah, you should have shut it down. Should people of color be okay with that? And obviously, no. Obviously, no. There should be people offended. George Floyd's family was offended, and there should be.